What's up, guys? This channel is called the Trading Infiltration, where we're infiltrating the market one play at a time, right? So, as you can tell from the title of this video, we're going to talk about a couple of things today, and majority is going to be support and resistance. So, the first thing we're going to discuss is what is support and resistance. Next thing we're going to discuss what is market structure, and then how do they work together, right? This is a hourly this is a daily time frame on Home Depot. I chose this chart because this chart has had smooth price action over the past almost year, right? It's been in a clear downtrend. So let's talk about support. Support is a level or a zone wherever you see price drop and then pop, all right? If you can remember that, you can remember it. Support is where price drops, then pops. So if you're looking at this chart easily, by that definition, you should be able to spot your support. This is support, right? We know this because price came down, it dropped, and then popped. If we move down a little further, this is support. Price came down, it dropped, and popped. Same thing, you know what I mean? And we can even go a little further here. This is support. This is support. Now, resistance, literally just the opposite. It's where price popped and then dropped. So we're marking out our resistance levels. This is resistance. This is resistance. We can also throw that in as well. Now, guys, if you can tell, sometimes price will come to a support level and turn that level into resistance and vice versa. What do I mean by that? Let's say, for instance, on our chart we have here, price came up to this resistance. It came down here to this support. Came up to this support because we know this is support because price came up to this level and it popped. So technically, this is a support line, right? But price broke through the support line. And now this specific line here is now resistance. Price never came back and touched it. So sometimes you don't really want to look at support and resistance as something as simple as lines and more so of zones, because it may come back up to the line itself and it may not ever come back up to the line, but it may come back to the zone. You know what I mean? So as we were saying, this is support and it turned into resistance right here and continued to fall, right? And so when you're looking at the charts, this is the first thing that you want to do when you're thinking about where could price go. You want to see what was previously support and what was previously resistance. The market always leaves footprints. As long as you understand that the market leaves footprints and at times it will come back to where it previously was, you'll be able to spot price action a lot better, right? So, speaking of price action, let's talk about market structure. So, market structure is basically when price is making either higher highs and higher lows or lower highs and lower lows. What do I mean by that? Let's get a little tool here. So, price will come up and it'll come down, and then it'll come up and then down, up and then down, up and then down, right? This is a clear uptrend. And we can easily draw a trend line right there. How do we know it's an uptrend? Because price is never coming back to the previous low that it hit before. So, say for instance, this is a high, this is a low. This is a high, low, high, low, high. If you can tell, price never came back and touched this low here as well as this low. So we know that price is in a uptrend. If we want to do the opposite, And pretty much our example is what this is going to be, a downtrend. Price comes up, then down, up, down, up, down. The market just moves in waves, and that's really it. It's just a pattern. It moves in waves. And we can also draw a trend line here, right? And so price came up, it made a high, and then it made a low. But then it made a lower high, and then a lower low, and then a lower high, and then a lower low, right? So this is clearly a downtrend. We have a defined trend because it's never coming back and touching the previous high or that previous low that it fell from originally, right? Let's get this off the chart really quick. So if we look at this chart here, this is clearly a downtrend based on what we just went over. Price came up, it popped, and it dropped. It popped, dropped, right? And so it is popping up, but it's never coming back up to this zone here, right? So this is a clear downtrend. This is perfect market structure. Now you do have times where price will come back to a previous zone. It may break a level here or another level right above it. But then again, it'll come back to another resistance and it'll continue to drop. So how do these things work together? I'm going to clear up my chart really quick. How does market structure and support and resistance work together? So first you want to clearly define your trend. We're clearly in a downtrend, right? But we're not trading this. We're not trading any of this. This stuff already happened. So if we go to where we currently are, we're gonna mark our resistance right here. And we're even gonna mark resistance right here. And then we're gonna mark our support here, and we have support here. Now you can even put some text on it so that you'll know support, support. And again, guys, remember, support can also be resistance and vice versa. Resistance, resistance. So how does market structure and support and resistance work together? What you would want to do, you wait until price reaches a support level and you wait for that reaction. So if I were to trade, if I saw all of this movement, right? I'm waiting for price to hit a support zone because I don't want to catch a falling knife and price reverses on me. I'm waiting for price to hit support and then I want to get in a call. I want to get in a buy because I know by definition when price comes to support, it pops, it drops, and then it pops, right? And so how you trade market structure and support and resistance is you simply ride from support to resistance. Now, what I mean by that is if you let's say price comes to here, you're here, we're here, right? Price comes here. We're gonna ride it up to the next resistance based on market structure, and we can even draw a trend line here. We know that more than likely price is not gonna break this because based on market structure, we're still in a downtrend, right? So you'll actually want to get out a little before it even hits that previous overall resistance. Because, like I said, we know that when price hits resistance, what does it do? It drops. And so if you're in a call, the last place you want to be is in a zone where price is dropping. You want to be in these zones where price is just constantly moving up. But we also have to pay attention to this overall trend as well. The overall trend is a downtrend. So even though we can catch a nice call or a buy from support up to resistance, we have to get out at resistance because based on the trend, more than likely it's not going to come up and break past this. So we need to already be out to play before it even comes and try to tap resistance. We need to get out in that zone. And that's why I said sometimes Price will never come up to the actual line. It'll come up to the area or the zone. So you want to have zones and not actual lines on the chart. Now, for me, I do both. I will mark the line and I will also put a zone here as well. Because even though I know that price may not come back to that actual line, I still want to have it just for visual, just for me to see, okay, this is where price previously was, and it may not come back up to this price in this trend, but it'll get close to it. But I at least need to see that, okay, this is where it previously stopped at and dropped, right? I hope that made sense, guys. More content on the way. Stay tuned. Peace.